Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater. Today we are checking out the Bassbone V2 Bass Control Center from Radial Engineering. It's a pedal that allows you to combine all the control functions you need for using up to 2 basses on stage and controlling your entire rig from one convenient location. The Bassbone V2 has dual inputs, so you can use 2 different basses with it. It also has a direct output for feeding into a PA system or a recorder. It has an output for feeding into your amplifier, as well as a loop for inserting effects into your signal path. So let's take a tour of this pedal and see all that it can do. Right now I'm plugged into input number 1. We have a switch here that allows us to select between the 2 switches, and we also have 2 different signal paths. The second signal path is one that's highlighted in yellow. We'll be talking about that in just a second. As I mentioned, we have 2 inputs into the Bassbone V2, and we can select between those using the select switch, and an indicator light tells us which one is active. In this case, the green light is on, so input number 1 is active. If we press that, we get the yellow light indicating channel 2. So we'll go back to channel 1. Now we have an EQ available here for channel 1. It has 2 different presets as well as a flat input. Here's our flat input. Here's tone A. And here's tone B. So right off the bat, you have quite a bit of flexibility for shaping your tone there just with that switch. The Bassbone V2 also has an effects loop built in, and you can use a switch here on the front panel to apply that either to channel 1, channel 2, or as I've got it set now, to both. So when you step on the loop foot switch, it engages that loop and assigns it to whatever channel you have selected using the loop switch here. I've got one of Radial Engineering's tri-mode tone modes plugged into the effects loop right now, and it's giving us a nice distorted sound. So here's our clean signal. Now I'll step on the loop, which will bring in the tri-mode. And that gives us all that distortion from the pedal. But we're not done yet, because there's also a loop control on the front panel that allows us to balance whether we're getting dry signal or wet signal or some combination in between. So right now I've set to fully wet, which means we're going 100% through the effect. I can turn that loop control all the way to dry, and we'll get the straight bass sound. But where this is really useful is being able to blend that distorted effect back in with our dry sound so that we don't lose the fundamental when we have heavy distortion. So if we bring this up a little bit and set the balance between the wet and the dry, we can maintain that solid bottom end that you want from your bass while still getting that distortion on top. Next up, we have a boost control. We have a knob for setting the amount of boost, and when we step on the foot switch, we'll bring that boost in. So again, here's our dry signal. We'll turn the boost on. You can hear that it gives us quite a bit of boost in level, and again, you can set the amount of boost that you're getting using that front panel knob. Now the boost foot switch can also be assigned to mute the signal. There's a small switch on the side of the pedal here, and when you engage that, it transforms this from a boost foot switch into a mute foot switch, and that allows you to tune silently. We have a tuner output here on the top of the front panel. You can route that to your tuner. It's always active, but if you want to tune silently without the audience hearing you, you can just step on this switch that again turns into a mute switch and silences your bass. On the back panel, we also have an XLR output, and that allows us to feed a balanced signal into a recorder, a PA system, or in this case, we're going straight into our camera, and that's what you're hearing in this video. There is a polarity reverse there, so if you're having phase issues, you can just flip that switch. We also have a second completely independent input and signal path that you can plug into on the Bassbone V2 as well. I'm going to switch over to that right now. So I switched over to input number 2, and this input has some special features as well. First of all, we have a PZB switch here on the side of the Bassbone V2. This switch converts the input on the Bassbone so that it can accept piezo pickups. So if you have an acoustic pickup on an upright bass, you could use that input. If you have a piezo pickup in the bridge of your electric bass, you could use it there. There's also a blend switch here on the side of the Bassbone V2. This allows you to combine the 2 inputs together. Now this is cool because you could plug a magnetic pickup into input number 1 and a piezo pickup into input number 2, and then using the 2 level controls, balance between those to create the mix that you like. Now input number 2 also has a high-pass filter. This allows us to tailor how much bottom end we're getting out of our signal. So here I've got it set flat. Now with a gentle roll-off. And with a steep roll-off. So if you're having problems with the bass being boomy in a particular venue, you want to cut down on the bottom end, you can use that high-pass filter switch to tailor that. Let's put the high-pass filter back to flat. And the next thing we have on channel 2 is a full 3-band EQ. So we have bass control, mid control, and high control, along with a level control for that input. So you can really shape the sound of your bass here, or switch between the 2 sounds if you're running 2 inputs into your Bassbone V2. Now input number 2 can be routed to the effects loop if you like. It can take advantage of that 180-degree polarity invert. It comes out of the balanced output. You can also use the boost function with that, or you can use the mute function with that if you're looking for silent tuning. If you're looking for a single compact pedal that can serve as a hub for your entire bass rig, the Bassbone V2 Bass Control Center is one you're definitely going to want to check out. 2 inputs, so you can run 2 separate basses, an upright, an electric, 2 electrics, or combine a piezo pickup and a magnetic pickup together. You've got an effects loop that can be assigned to either input or both. You've got a boost function, a mute function, tuner output, direct XLR output for feeding into a PA or a recorder. This really is a full-featured hub that lets you take control of your entire bass rig. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Radial Engineering Bassbone V2 Bass Control Center. If you have questions about this pedal or any other Radial Engineering pedal, please give your sales engineer a call or visit Sweetwater.com. I'm Mitch Gallagher.